It would be kind of cool if you had a hemomancer who also was a vampire. I mean, that could be interesting, but...
They know the blood, and they are the blood.
And they like the blood.
They like the blood, but they are
They
the
know
blood.
the blood, they are the blood.
I am such a snoot for the blood.
Oh, you know me,
There
I
it
cannot
is.
resist. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn. Pull up a chair, come on in, take off your coat, kick your boots off, come up to the fire, get down on the floor, keep your mouth shut, everybody, money in the bag, and nobody try and be a hero, and join us as we discuss Dungeons & Dragons, Homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.
I'll kill you. I'm the wild card.
Bean, you are the wild card of the group. Onog is obviously the face. Mercy's the brains.
And I'm obviously
And I'm the
tactician.
strength.
What?
Yes. What?
He
I'm
is
the
very
muscle.
tactile.
Wait, what? It's good to be back.
Good to be back.
Good to
Oh,
be
I miss
back.
you guys.
Yeah.
Man, we were on our campaign. We got captured for a while.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You know how it is.
It's almost like you guys moved across state lines, but luckily
Almost.
you didn't, and we are all here in the same room. Here
Yeah,
in
the
the
tavern-
Copper Fox Inn.
The tavern smells exactly how I remember it.
Very bad.
It's unfortunate.
Like a little like feet.
I'm just gonna get ahead of this and take offense to that. Just out of principle.
But it's that feet where you're like at
No,
first you're-
everybody knows it's canon that Onog smells like fresh laundry.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
no.
use soap all the time. What
He's
are you talking
got that
Freaking
gain.
Irresistible.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
that
gonna-
natural draw.
throw you across
Get
this
it?
room.
No, because gain is a
it's
well-known
not a
It's
good
like
pun
a-
if you have to explain it.
laundry.
Like all the best jokes, let's dissect that one for 30 minutes.
All right, we're taking bets on how long it's gonna take Onog to yeet Bean out the window. She's a gnome. She's so small.
She's a gnome
She's
rogue.
so vulnerable to being yeeted.
That's like plan number one every time. It's like, how are we gonna get up there?
Onog's
well,
gonna yeet Bean.
I want you all to know that I'm not even a teenager, and it makes me physically uncomfortable the way you say yeet.
No, yeet. Yeet is a new word we've come up with. We're thinking it's gonna start catching on.
Because we found out about that creature, the Yeetle Beetle, and we were like, that's a great
Yeah.
word.
We're like, that's so fun. That's why we started saying it after that Yeetle Beetle
Yeah.
incident.
And we have definitely never said it before.
Now, this isn't a
No.
magic item that I brought, but I've been working on a magic item called anti-yeet boots. And if someone goes to yeet you, you just activate them, and they stick you to the
You could-
ground.
You could just say throw. Yeet is a specific situation.
No. I like this. I'll workshop that with you, Bean. We'll do some playtesting.
Onog, I know you have a bit of a yeet infection, but just because you don't want to deal with it.
Man, this is really like timely content.
You can't have a
All of
yeet
us
infection
sound-
and smell like fresh laundry at the same time.
Why did you keep? I was trying to move off the joke.
That was called a segue.
That was called me doing my best to
I wasn't
segue.
ready to let go.
Oh man.
And
Just
that
let
was
go,
called a
Jack.
PPK right there.
Yeah.
Alright, I've let go.
Okay.
I've yeeted that joke.
No, you're not letting go.
Oh boy.
Here at the Copper Fox Inn, what we do is we find the weirdest, the most interesting Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition homebrew on the internet at large. And we share that with each other as we discuss it. And, yep,
You've been finding yours on the internet?
the end of the sentence. No, sorry, I can't reference the internet. We find them in ancient tomes and scrolls.
Mine have just been being brought to me by little geckos.
I use carrier pigeons.
There's just these
I have
little
a
geckos.
delivery service.
I just kind of pick up what's ever on the floor.
Do you sort of like have a homebrew like monthly box subscription through a bird service that
Well,
you
it's from the college where I studied magic.
Yeah.
I'm just subscribed, and a carrier pigeon brings me like a new scroll of some
Yeah.
like arcane stuff they're working on, and that's where I get all my homebrew.
It's
and like a
called-
sticker too,
it's
but like no
called-
one
Yeah,
cares about the
I
sticker.
throw those away.
Yeah.
It's called Great.
Yep.
What was the first one?
Crate.
Is that...
Like
It's
loot
'cause
crate,
it's a
but
bird.
is pigeons.
Is that a bird sound? What's that mean
It's
in
a
bird?
coo. It's a bird
coo.
cooing.
Yes, but what word is it in bird language?
I'm not a bird.
It means...
Who here can speak bird?
None of us have birds.
No,
Who has...
I don't
Onog,
speak-
are you a totem barbarian?
I am a totem barbarian.
Okay,
but that
10 minutes
takes
from
like 10
now, you have
minutes
to
and I
tell
wanna get
me-
this started.
10 minutes from now, tell me what we said. Start the timer.
That's not how it works.
He can't do the podcast because he'll just be in the corner going like humana as he does the ritual.
Doing his rituals. I like to think that for a lot of totem barbarians, the ritual is just like doing push-ups.
Or I
Just-
like
just
to
like
think
a
that
quick
it is
routine.
largely made up on the spot and improvised entirely. Just like, I guess this is magic.
I thought it was like the haka. So
that's cool.
when they're
that's
like,
cool.
oh, just real quick, I'm gonna do a ritual for like beast sight to see through an animal, and then everyone else keeps talking, but in the background,
You're just doing like a tribal chant.
That's actually like a sick way of
he's just
imagining
screaming
That's
at
barbarian
actually-
rituals.
That's actually a really cool image, so that has no place on our podcast.
That was actually a very good idea.
I was
Don't-
going for comedic
don't
because
make-
they're all being sneaky, but meanwhile the barbarian is like slapping himself on the chest and screaming.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fair. Let's get started off with our magic item of the week.
Ba-da-da-da.
All right.
Onog, you brought that this week.
Yes, I have a magical item here before me. So this magical item I found on Reddit. It was posted by user James Richard Parrott. And
James Parrott. Yes, we actually, I follow James Parrott on Instagram as well.
Mhm.
Great creator.
James Parrott, can you tell us what "Cruor" means?
No, stop it.
Oh, because a parrot. It's not spelled like that, but good try.
All right, and this item is called True Image. And the description reads only this. Point this at a creature you see within 120 feet, and push the button on the top to see past any illusion magic or disguise, revealing their true form.
Ooh.
I love it. I love the art.
Now, yeah,
Very
I like
interesting.
this because not only is the art both simple and spooky, but just the item itself is just, it's a kind of an example of just a very simple idea. Just, it's not fancy. It doesn't give you any different actions, or it doesn't require certain things. You just literally point and click.
Now, quick question.
Yeah.
Does the spell True Sight let you see past disguises like physical disguises?
I believe it does. We can double check that. real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah. No.
'Cause
Not
I-
physical
I was
disguises.
gonna
True
say,
sight
like,
only
if you're-
allows you to see through illusions.
Oh, with the way this is worded.
the
I
way
see
this
what
is
you're
illusions
phrased,
and
That might be a mistake in the wording.
I think it's cool because it is true
Yeah.
image, and I think
Yeah.
I like the idea that like True Sight, you could fool someone if you're good enough with like costumes and makeup. You could fool someone with True Sight, but with this, it is literally going to tell you like, nah, man, that's not a little old lady. That's Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
That mustache.
In a
is
lot of
super
latex.
fake.
I've never thought before about the give and take between a disguise kit and disguise self, because one can be seen through with true sight because it's an illusion, and one can't.
Or even detect magic.
Yeah,
I mean-
and the other, like, a disguise kit isn't magic; it's just a false mustache.
It's
like,
just like a lot of foundation.
I've never considered it that way before, because I've always thought of like disguise kit. Who would use that when you have alter self? But if it's like you're trying to hide that you're
From
like
magic,
from a person who can see magic, they're gonna check immediately.
I
But
mean-
if it's just a mask or something, they can't check past that.
Totally. It's like we just saw the Fast and the Furious Sean Hobbs, and
Isn't it Hobbs and Shaw?
I don't
I'm
care.
pretty sure it's Hobbs and
It's-
Shaw.
The Fast
No, it's a
and the
biopic about somebody named Sean Hobbs.
It's Fast and the Furious, Calvin and Hobbs.
Fast Calvin Ball.
Oh no.
But I also said Furious, but let's move on from that.
No, that is correct.
Okay.
No, that's the final movie. Fastest and Furious. It hasn't come out yet, but I'm just letting you know that will be the final.
That's the final one.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that, where basically this one organization is so the bad guy organization is so reliant on technology that the only way they can defeat them is to use things that are not really like
Technologically
tech-based.
Like
So that's why they go...
analog stuff.
Yeah, they go old school. They're like, we're using real bombs with like fuses and detonate. Like, we're not using radio detonators or anything. And then all they have to do is find a way to jam
the electronic guns.
the electronic, because they're like special electric guns. Spoiler alert, BT dubs. And that is like a thing that they have to do. And I feel like that comes up kind of frequently in action movies or stuff like that, where it's like...
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially the climax of Pacific Rim as well, where the EMP knocks out all the computer ones, but the ones that are like nuclear powered still work because they're like analog.
We should make sure at the end of episodes where we reference pop culture that we say, by the way, there were spoilers in that episode, so don't have listened to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make sure...
After any statement, let me know if there was a spoiler in it.
Yep.
I think what's cool about the art is it makes me think that is the eyeball of a creature with true sight.
Oh.
And so I was trying to think of what creatures innately have true sight in D&D.
Well,
I mean,
they're like several angels, gods, and things like that. Nothing that necessarily, like it could be some eldritch horror kind of a thing. A lot of the, actually a few of the comments on the Reddit thread I pulled this from are talking about how it's just a mimic that has been trained because it takes one to know one kind of a thing.
That's very good.
Because what it reminded me of was a Rakshasa eye, but Rakshasa are illusion-y boys, but they don't have true sight innately.
No, but they could probably cast the true sight spell.
I don't think they can. I can't remember. It's been a while since I piloted
They
one.
can't inherently, but of course, I'm the kind of DM that I'm like, if you as a player can level up as something, so can anything you're fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Is sort of the thing I go by.
Here's a fun little tidbit. One of the creatures that inherently has true sight is the Avatar of Death from the Deck of Many Things.
Oh yeah, dang.
That's cool.
It's like death can see past all. You can't hide from it.
Yeah.
So maybe this is Death's
Except
eye.
your fake mustache.
I was gonna say, if you have a good enough mustache.
Well, I like though that it looks sort of like a cat's eye. It's feline, because in lore outside of D&D, just sort of general lore, you think of Harry Potter, right, with like Kneasels. There is sort of this idea of like, because cats always stare at you weird, it's the idea that cats can like see ghosts or like that cats like have true sight is an idea in fantasy lore in general, which I don't know if the artist was intentionally drawing off of that, but I would guess that they may have been.
Yeah.
But as we all know, in real life, cats can't even see in the dark, so, you know.
Yep.
Yep.
That's gonna come back later in this episode, listeners.
No.
Spoiler alert ahead of time, but I will be talking about that later.
Now,
so.
I did want to touch a little bit on so just kind of the physical raw mechanics of this.
Sure.
Because a lot of people were comparing this to the what was it? Let me look it up here. The Lantern of Revealing. But and so actually with these two items combined, True Image and the Lantern of Revealing, together they actually make true sight. Because if you look, if the way that you break it down is the same way that you break down other spells, and if you want to get real nitpicky, point this at a creature you see within 120 feet. So technically, this cannot reveal invisible creatures because you have to point it at a creature you can see.
Yeah.
Oh,
now,
interesting.
If I were the DM, I would say, no, that's dumb. What is the point of that?
Your version would have it reveal. The Flash would reveal the invisible as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing is because it also says you can see past illusion magic, and invisibility is a type of illusion magic. But there are specific situations, and DMs can make the ruling where it's like, I want to use frostbite or ray of frost on this lake to try and cool the water so we can make an ice platform. Technically, both of those spells in their descriptions can only target creatures.
Yeah.
And so technically that is a spell that can only be cast at a creature you can see.
Well, maybe with it, with the wording of it saying like only a creature that you can see, maybe the creator there was thinking of the fact that it's like a camera basically that you look through. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you would just hold it out to a room in general. So if there's an invisible creature I could see like that argument with the DM of like, but how do you know where to point it exactly?
Well, yeah, it does
So,
have
like-
a button that you have to push.
Classic invisibility questions of, can I throw a knife into a room and just hope for the best?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always like up to personal DM discretion. But
It is. It's purposefully vague in the rules.
But with the
Seemingly
idea of it
purpose.
has a button, I don't necessarily mind it saying you have to see it because you wouldn't know to like Mercy said, you wouldn't
Yeah.
know to aim it. Maybe as a DM, I would give them like one chance because it has to like, you know.
One shot, one opportunity. But what if they lose themselves to the music? What if their
Okay.
palms are sweaty
All right.
and they can't hit the button? Their knees are weak, so they drop it on the floor, perhaps.
You can't see our expressions, but I wish you could.
That's like you guys are kind of touching on. Like this is, I don't know if this is just like a wording thing that we're just getting hung up on kind of a thing, or if it's like an intentional thing to kind of thwart abuse of it.
Sure.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Well,
And
I
so
do.
if you wanted to change that so there's just point this thing in a direction and it reveals all illusion magic and all disguises, and then have it be like on a charge, like on a daily basis, like have it be a charge item like a wand of fireballs or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Well,
it
that
has
could be
like a cone that comes out from it, like a spell. And if the creature is captured within that distance, then it is on the image. But if it's not, you know, you have to get a wider angle lens.
Can you buy new lenses for this item?
One of the interesting things is that James Parrott, the creator of this, does make, I've seen a lot of their images, a lot of their items, and a lot of them are, they seem to be almost system agnostic, or at least close to it. So that might be part of why this doesn't say something even like as an action or as a bonus action, because this is more just a fun idea for magic item. You might slip this into a Pathfinder game.
Yeah.
You might slip it into a D&D game.
yeah.
So that might be why it's a little less specific for like 5th edition rules, because I have seen some items that James Parrott has made that they don't really function with 5th edition, but they could function kind of in general RPGs.
Which, I mean, as a choice, that totally works.
Yeah. It's smart.
If you were going to implement it into your game, you'd probably have to do some of that, like rules tweaking to make it work in your specific system.
So probably all of our nitpicking of like, well, why is it worded like disguise or illusion or whatever? Like that's probably just a non-issue with the way that it was intended.
Yeah, my real question is, how does it present that image to you? Is there like a back screen, or
That's
does it
what I was
print out
gonna
like a
say.
Polaroid?
So it
I
says
assumed you just see it.
it says you see it. I like
Because
the
it's when you
idea-
push the button, though, only in that moment, right?
I like the idea that it prints like either a negative version, like an old-timey camera, so it's like kind of hard to see what it is, like a reverse image, or it's just a little ticker tape thing that's printed out that says it in words.
No, that's useless. No, Bean, that's terrible.
Dude, there's totes of Rakshasha in here.
You like aim it down in like an empty hall and you're like click, and then a little print thing is just like nothing, and you're like okay, and then you go around the corner and you're like click, and it's like silver dragon, and you're like what?
No, it just says something.
It just says big yikes.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then it's worse than find traps.
The ticker tape comes out and it just says, roll for initiative.
It's like, great.
It's got the shrugging, like the Reddit,
man.
shrugging emoticon kind of that
No,
you can
yeah,
put
yeah,
into like
yeah,
a
yeah.
comment. Just roll for initiative, I guess.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It just
It
you
just
take
says, I'm sorry.
it takes a
Oh,
picture
no.
and then like a price tag comes up on the camera and it just says used, and you're like why is it what? I still own this, and you're like not for long.
It just prints and it's like low battery. Like we split this image into 3 clips.
Oh, no. Oof. Those cuts. Awesome. Thanks, Onog, for bringing this. That's really cool. I love the art, and I encourage everybody to check James Parrott out. Great creator. Very interesting stuff online. Let's move on to our next one, which I believe is me?
You.
Me?
We're reviewing
alright.
Thomas.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Excellent bard.
Oh, what?
Oh.
Oh, thank you, Bean. That's so nice.
Oh, Thomas, speaking of which, my mom, her name is Toast, was watching your video that you guys made of the Feywild, you versus Feywild, and she loved it.
Oh.
Oh, I wasn't involved in that, but I know the guy, Albert von Grilson. He's a good guy.
I know that they asked you for some jokes.
Aren't
to
you
put in.
related to
Yeah,
him?
I wrote the script, but I wasn't in the film.
You're in the credits.
Yeah.
It was a
So
joy
is
to work with.
So is Dame Judi Dench. All right, not everybody in the credits shows up in the final cut.
You can see the work of Andy Serkis in the final cut, though. His mocap as the bee.
The bee.
Ooh,
It's very lifelike.
That's where, I'll be honest, that is where the entire budget went.
If you zoom in, you can see the sorrow in his eyes, and it's very haunting, but it's incredibly moving as well.
All I'm saying is that man needs an Oscar.
I really wish that
Yeah.
we could release the behind the scenes footage of him running around with a toilet plunger on his butt, but
It'll never see the light.
we signed so many NDAs.
Yeah. That's the problem. I think that everyone's saying Andy Serkis needs an Oscar. There should be a new Oscar for what Andy Serkis is doing. I say instead we just cut to the chase. We just call him Andy's from now on.
Just skip that.
Yeah, we don't need a new kind of Oscar. We just say, Oscar, who's that? These are Andy's now. Andy gives these. If
And
you
the little
please, if you
statues.
That's his purgatory. Like, he never receives one, but he gives them now, and they're named after him, but he doesn't get one.
he doesn't get,
The little statues have gray suits with ping pong balls all over them.
I guide others to a treasure I cannot possess. Yep. Very good. I'll do my homebrew now. That's what we do on this show, right?
Yeah, speaking of tiny pantsless figurines.
Yes, speaking of tiny pantsless things, my homebrew today is a racial option for 5th edition. I found it on r/unearthed arcana from user Call Me Partario. Okay.
I
Partario.
think we've reviewed them before.
And this is the Grimalkin racial option. The Grimalkin race. It begins with a quote by Terry Pratchett. In ancient times, cats were worshipped as gods. They have not forgotten this.
Very good. Terry Pratchett. Solid.
Yes. He's a... Mwah. You know what I'm saying? There's an Italian, just... Mwah. Perfect. Grimalkin are cousins to the Tabaxi, but are significantly smaller.
Oh no, it's Tabaxi halflings.
It's Tabaxi halflings. Tabaxlings, if you will.
Oh,
And
let's stick with the Grimalkin.
have you...
Halfaxi.
What does that sound?
Half-Laxley? No, it hurts so bad.
You really half-axed that
You really...
joke.
Oh, no.
Tabaxolotls.
We have disintegrated. Let us
Part
continue.
halfling, part
This is
cat,
probably the
part
best-
salamander.
This is probably the best episode we've ever recorded.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Especially because
The-
we're just talking over each other the entire time.
This is why they're separate. So if one person's making a good joke and another person's making a less good joke at the same time,
just
I
delete
just
the bad joke.
pick which one was better.
It's released and it's just Thomas talking the entire time.
No, I released that already. That was called an Inspiration with Thomas
that's
the
right.
Human
Oh, it's
Bard.
very
I
good.
like
again,
that
listen.
very much, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm going to be releasing another one this week. So the Grimalkin race is cat people, but you know how cat people in D&D right now, they're too much like people? They're just like kind of people-sized.
They're just sort of like furry.
You know how off-putting that Cats trailer was? That's how I think of the Tabaxi. I'm like, no, be less people, please. So this is just, picture a cat. Picture, if you will, a cat.
Okay.
Picture that cat just getting up on its back legs and just walking around,
Putting on a little doublet.
putting on a little doublet, a little sword, a little shield, and just looks at you and goes, all right, let's go.
Nice.
Let's go adventure.
Maybe getting a little like upper body strength restructuring kind of a
A
thing.
little bit shorter legs.
Yeah. The proportions make a little more sense, but yeah. All right, so Grimalkin, their ability scores are, your dexterity is increased by 2.
Fair enough.
Grimalkin mature at 5 years, and they live up to 3 decades. So roughly like real cat
Nice.
length-ish.
Not
Like a
like
little
our
bit. but-
penguin race that dies at like the age of 4.
Oh, no.
Hey, they live fast, they die fast. You know what I'm saying? They get a lot out of those 4 years. Alignment, their dedication to individuality and personal freedom makes most Grimalkin chaotic. They size Grimalkin average about 3 feet tall and weigh about 40 pounds. Your size is small. So yes, this is a small-sized cat race for when you wanted to be a halfling, but you thought, no, let's get kinkier.
We've already done this joke. No, it happened already.
I think Bean had a stroke and forgot like the earlier conversation. It was like, wait, I got this one. I came up with a great idea.
So what I really like about this camera that helps you see true sight things.
Bean, come back to us. Back to us, Bean.
Focus up, Bean.
All right, your speed, you have a base walking speed of 25 feet, so they do have the kind of small creature disadvantage there with the 25 feet. But they make up for it later. We'll get to it. Languages, you can speak, read, write, Common, and Grimalkin, so they chose to have a unique racial language for this.
All 4 unique languages.
Dark vision, which I personally, this is ridiculous. Cats don't have dark vision.
Yeah,
okay?
we all know that.
We all know cats don't have dark vision in real life or in the game.
It says so in the monster manual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we live here in this tavern, in this D&D world, and I've never seen a cat with dark vision.
Yeah.
If the lights are out, cats can't see for crap. Like, they run into everything. Climbing claws, your claws grant you a climbing speed of 20 feet.
Okay.
That's nice. Ancestry, you get a 1 of 2, so there's like 2 sub-races essentially. Wild Grimalkin, so these are like the forest folk of the Grimalkin.
The slippery Grimalkin, if we will.
Actually, these are not the slippery Grimalkin.
Oh, they're not.
The urban Grimalkin are the slippery boys.
My bad.
These are the hunters. There's not really a perfect penguin parallel here, but these are the the hunter predator penguins.
If there's not a good parallel penguin parallel, then it's crap and I hate it.
Well, we just need to make a new penguin subrace of predator penguins.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Spicy penguins.
It's slippery, chunky,
chubby,
slippery, chubby, and predator.
Spicy penguin.
The Predator, the film. So the Wild Grimalkin, they get an ability score increase of 1, in addition to their original dexterity increase of 2. And then they have feline agility. Your reflexes and agility allow you to move with a burst of speed. When you move on your turn in combat, you can double your speed until the end of your turn. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you move 0 feet on one of your turns.
You gotta rest a bit.
You have to take a turn off of moving to be able to do it again.
And and so far this is just still proven to be just small tabaxi, because tabaxi have that exact ability. As well.
Yeah, just tabaxi, but small. And then Wild Savvy. You are proficient in 2 of the following skills of your choice: acrobatics, insight, perception, or survival. As some listeners may know if they heard our Dryad side quest where we homebrewed a Dryad race, I enjoy when racial options give you the choice of a proficiency.
Definitely.
Yep.
I think that's a fun addition.
So, to keep reading on our small backsy.
Tiny backsy.
That's fair.
Yeah,
okay. I thought you were leading into something there.
No, I was just trying to make the joke.
Moving me along.
Cutting you off.
You were just completely cutting me off to make a joke we'd already made.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, the point of the joke was I was just going to keep getting worse and worse at combining the word tabaxi with other words.
Fantastic.
But then I realized it's not funny. And that's the first time I've ever thought that about myself.
Bean, I'm going to give you inspiration for that. Perfect role play of your character's flaw. Thank you.
Oh, now I think I'm very funny.
Oh, no. Okay, then we have our urban Grimalkin. And so these are the city cats. These are the boys used to sneaking around in alleyways and in large crowds. They get a charisma bonus. A charisma score increases by 1. They get the street smart ability. Accustomed to being underfoot in city streets, you can move through the space of any creature that is of a size larger than yours, spending 2 feet of movement for every 1 feet you move in this manner.
So this is the McCavity.
The what?
Never mind.
No, they were horrified by cats. They didn't like it.
This is very
character
similar to isn't there like a gnome ability?
No, the lightning. Sorry.
Lightning halflings.
Lightfoot
halflings.
Lightfoot
halfling
halflings
thing.
get an ability like this, though it doesn't specify the. I don't think it specifies the slow movement. I think that's actually inherently implied because if you're moving through enemy space, it slows
It's
you
slow
down.
Right.
movement.
Right.
So maybe
But-
this would be double slow movement.
Well,
then.
that is sort
I
of a
would need
problem.
to
is that
I
it
would need to
doesn't
do a bit
clarify
more
if it
research on that,
stacks.
but I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
doesn't specify that it like costs twice as much. But I haven't read it in a while.
But that's probably what they're implying is like the other one.
Yeah.
You can-
you can sneak through people's legs, but it takes some movement.
You can remember that it's halflings that have that ability because it's just the Merry and Pippin like sneaking away in the fight.
Yeah, just running
the
between their
orcs.
legs.
Yeah.
And that is an all halfling ability. All halflings can move through
halflings-
the space.
Halflings are legally distinct from hobbits, so I think that Wizards of the Coast takes umbrage at your comparison of the two. They're very different. Urban Savvy, you're proficient in 2 of the following skills of your choice: Deception, Sleight of Hand, Performance, or Persuasion.
Yeah.
And now we get to one of my favorite bits here. There is a racial feat available called 9 Lives. Prerequisite, Grimalkin. Apaic, who I'm assuming is some sort of cat god, has blessed
he's
you
mentioned
with...
earlier in the Wild Grimalkin.
He has blessed you with his favor. You gain the following benefits. You have advantage on death saving throws.
Ooh.
When you are reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead. If you are killed outright, you can mark a death saving throw failure permanently, dropping to 1 hit point instead. You can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest.
So you just then lose 1 death
You just
saving throw.
only have 2 death saving throws from then on, and if you ever use it again, you only ever have a single death saving throw
I
to your name.
love that.
That's
My only problem with
love
this
that.
is that they should specifically uniquely have 9 death saving throws.
No, okay. I mean, we're going to work within the mechanics that we have, okay? Racial feat, 9 lives. You get 9 death saving throws.
No, but then you can lose them permanently, so I feel like it balances.
I think the idea is that
that's
it's
actually
like,
not bad.
it kind of counts down, where you use your first 3, and then your second 3, and then your third 3, and then you're out of them.
That doesn't
I
make...
also love the image, though, of just this little tiny cat that, like, falls off a building and just hits a
Gets
cart
up again.
on the way and is like, splayed out on the ground, and everyone's like, oh no, Mittens. And then
I
just
do-
like, gets up again and is like, all right, let's go. And they're like, you were dead.
I like to compare it to that, the clip from Ice Age. Did you die? Yes, but I live.
But,
I see now what you mean though about it being 9 because
Where,
it's
because
when
like
you're
each
killed
time
outright.
when you're dying, you have your like 3 death saving throws theoretically. So it's sort of
Right.
like each time
Well,
that
but it
comes
doesn't.
up, you
It
can...
doesn't go 3 and then 3 and then 3.
It would go
goes
3
3 and then 2 and then 1.
yeah.
I know, but I was saying it was sort of like instead of adding 9 death saving throws, it was their way of implying the like, because it would be like 3 times until you're out of them, and 3 with 3 times.
You
each.
also-
I don't know.
With getting advantage, it's almost like you do get extra death saving throws.
Yeah.
It
which
is kind of, yeah.
I know
'cause
it
you're
doesn't
more
add
likely
up to
pass them.
9, but it is kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it fits
I
the
think it
flavor.
works.
yeah.
I would love to find a way to flavor some of those deaths, though, where it's like the red dragon unleashes its breath weapon on you. You are reduced to cinders. And they're like, I would like to use my racial feat. And it's sort of a Wile E. Coyote situation where the pile of ashes with eyeballs on it kind of pops back up into a person shape.
Well, see, I would flavor it in a different thing. It's like everyone's going like, "Oh no, Mittens, no!" and they're like sifting through that pile of ash, and then they turn to their left, and Mittens is just standing right there, just going, "What are you guys crying over?"
Just covered in soot and like blinks twice like a cartoon.
Mittens is just like licking his paws, just like, oh,
hey,
what's
guys."
up? What's going on? Did I miss something?
Grimalkin are like the ultimate kamikaze barbarian
Oh
types.
no!
Oh, they could do the total like drop me from 1,000 feet barbarian like ultra elbow.
Don't
drop.
worry, I land on my feet.
Ooh, that's a good one-liner.
And
I love that.
I splintered my shins.
My feet went straight through my skull,
Mercy,
But
that
I
was so
live.
but I lived. I just love how this racial feat like would inspire so much unique storytelling at your table,
Yeah.
where from now on you can always tell people about the many times you've died and actual, because a lot of people like I was very close to dying and they had to like bring me back, and you're just like, nah, dude. Like a
didn't even
storm
see
giant
that boulder
one-shotted me with a club, crit on the hit. I insta-died. He lifted the club up, and I was just still on it, and I walked up it like in Shadow of the Colossus. Like, that'd be so cool.
Oh no, the thing is though, this race, it just gives fodder to your players that just laugh in the face of death. This is either the perfect or worst character for those kinds of players.
Because they're going to encourage that behavior.
Yeah, they're just going to be like, nah, I just dive into the volcano, I swim down to the bottom and get the key, NBD.
It really is just the sort of like, is it orcish endurance?
A little bit.
Yeah, it is. Well, the first part of it is when you are hit to 0, you go back to 1.
So what I'm saying is it's like that, but a boosted version where now it's a feat you've got to take that like gives you a big bonus.
Ooh, at the bottom here, it says that they update it and that there's a PDF that is like constantly getting updates.
Yeah. I was going to reference that in the description.
Okay.
Well, now, so the actually really cool feat aside, I do have a couple of, I don't know.
All right. Pitch it back to me. What are you thinking?
Because while
caveats?
Shut up. While this is like a really cool race flavor-wise, just looking at it mechanically, I can't help but notice that it, like, especially the Wild Grimalkin, are literally just, this is a Tabaxi, but it's worse. Yeah, like, you literally can't go as fast, you don't have as many abilities, like...
I will say that for me, the only reason I would pick this race would either be aesthetics or this dope racial feat.
And I don't know if you should really take that into account though when making the
I
race.
Agree. And what I was going to say is like usually if you're making a new player race, you have to be giving people like there is a reason that you would pick this race over other things.
And there has to be a specific fantasy.
And not necessarily just because they're better. And sometimes just the aesthetic of it is cool. But then for me, and maybe I'm just a more loose DM than other people, but I would just say, then just play a race that exists and we'll just say it looks like something else.
You'll just play a Tabaxi and we'll just say you're small.
Yeah.
Which is fine and all good. And like, and a different kind of caveat I have with the urban Grimalkin, not nearly as much as the wild Grimalkin, but like we were talking about, like the street smart ability is just the halfling hiding ability, which then means that like, you're just still you still just don't have as many abilities as a halfling, or in that regard it sort of kind of balances out, but still you
get like the you still get the basic
like, you still get the other
traits.
Basic abilities, but then it's like then when you're looking at that though, because the way this has been crafted, it directly calls that comparison, like would you just be better off being a mildly cat-like Lightfoot halfling? Like, would that be better for what you wanted in a character?
Could you play a Lightfoot halfling but agree with your DM that you're a cat?
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
And so it doesn't necessarily
on
have
every
to be
level
better.
Except physical, of course.
No, on the only level.
Oh, right, sorry. Actually, in his brain, he is a Lightfoot halfling, but everyone else sees a cat.
But yeah, and it's just something I would say think about, and I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's why I felt hesitant to bring it up. Like, I don't know how you would fix that other than just giving them something else to do or something. Because like, while being a size small does have its advantages, mostly mechanically speaking, that is raw disadvantage in almost every aspect.
What if you had an ability that like you could almost a la Puss in Boots in Shrek? Not have like a hypnotic stare or anything.
A charm? Oh, I would say that would be great.
Yeah.
That could be cool. I'm saying that you could just pass as a cat.
Ooh.
Oh, you could just get on all fours and you are indistinguishable from a cat.
I'm not here.
You're just indistinguishable from a cat.
That's so good.
Maybe even give them the ability that like they have an inherent spell that hides any objects that they have on them.
No, I think there has to be a cost. Like they gotta
tear off the clothes.
They just gotta strip naked.
They're just naked.
You have to be arrested for public indecency if somebody figures you out.
But
are cats arrested for public indecency?
No, but if the cops hear you talking and they go, "Wait a minute, you're a Grimalkin."
But I'm saying, if you're physically the same as a cat, what are they mad about?
Well, I think
it's the principle of the thing.
what you got to do, like we're talking about, like what's the fantasy, like what's the hook, and you have to think Puss in Boots is going to be one of the sort of specific images people are trying to achieve. But the other thing that comes to my mind is like cat burglars.
Yeah.
And you cannot hear cats coming up behind you. Like you can just turn around and there's a cat in the room, like you didn't hear them walk in. And so I feel like the ability to just pass as a cat, like if they are actually indistinguishable from cats except that they walk on their hind legs and wear clothes and talk, if they just don't do those things, they could just be the ultimate thieves.
Oh, that'd be so sick, where there's like a cat in like a merchant's shop, like bathing in the sun, and you're like, hello, ring ring ring, merchant, are you here? And then the cat bathing in the sun is like, 1 second, and it's like, oh, he was the merchant the whole time. I didn't realize. He gets up, puts his little pants on. You're like, oh wait, was he nude this whole time?
You know, this is
Disney cartoon rules.
Aside from just a player race, this is also a great NPC to just kind of take your party by surprise.
Isn't there something very similar? I mean, like essentially like an awakened cat in the Aragon novels.
A woke cat.
Oh, it's a
very
werecat.
cat. Yeah, the werecat, who is like sometimes looks like a cat, but is like very wise, and sometimes you're like, is that a cat? And he's like, no, it's me, haha.
I think you can like telepathically communicate with people. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
which
don't know.
Star Wars
It's
character
been a long
is this?
time.
Who is this again?
I think one thing too, you were talking about ultimate cat burglar, maybe not giving them this inherently, but you could pull qualities from the spell Pass Without a Trace and put
There
it
could
on
be
them.
an interesting, like, you have advantage on stealth checks. Like,
you're
there
not
could be
wearing
something like that. That'd be
shoes.
cool.
Yeah, or like, if you're not wearing shoes, like technically Pass Without Trace gives you the ability that people can't track you or like hear you walking.
You should
Without
have
magic,
you should have
what if
automatic guaranteed disadvantage on animal handling checks dealing with dogs.
Just
should
any
just be baked in.
larger beast just hates you.
It's
Cats
like-
can be chill with some animals, but mostly not dogs.
Yeah, not dogs.
Unless they're pet dogs, and they're cool.
If you're sitting there and you're not doing anything for more than 5 minutes, you have to make a Constitution saving throw to not lick yourself.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say to not like fall asleep in a cat nap.
Not to throw up a hairball.
Oh, that's it. Guys, they get racial magic and they can cast the cat nap on themselves.
Or
No, but really though.
there's a
But really, though.
there's a negative side effect to this, and you have to take 2 long rests every
Yeah, that's
day.
the downside.
You have to take too long.
You have to sleep most of the time.
Everyone's like, all right, are we going to keep going? And the cat's like, I thought we were done for the day. I'll
Also,
be real with you guys.
Your party has to like ration your food or you will like
Vomit.
go to town. You will just eat till you vomit.
Yeah, you'll eat all of the food and then throw up and be like, where's all the food? And like, you ate it. And you'll be like, what? Don't look at me, all right? You left it out.
Give me more food.
Where's the food?
You have the
wake up your party
inability-
at 2 a.m. and you're like, make me breakfast.
Guys, no, stop everything. Stop the presses. This would allow you to play as the character Garfield within the D&D
No.
universe. That fun lasagna cat would be like, oh, guys, it would be
What?
perfect.
What class is Garfield?
Ooh,
Lasagna
He likes to
paladin.
kick Odie. So
So-
maybe a monk?
something melee.
No, the answer is Garfield is like he's not anything.
No. No, hear me out. He's a monk. Because one, he never ages. He's always the same age.
Fair enough.
He can like sleep forever. That's like kind of like the meditation thing.
Uh-huh.
He can understand all languages.
he just
because
doesn't
he can
do
understand John.
Yeah.
I thought he maybe would have been like an Oath of Vengeance paladin who's like sworn to
Or-
destroy
Mondays?
Mondays.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alright,
or
okay.
he's a totem barbarian, and it instead of speak with animals, it's speak with person.
Speak with persons. Guys, I am gonna have to animate in images of those Garfield classes now.
Yeah,
Ooh,
you do.
You
I'm
brought
looking
this
forward
on
to it.
yourself.
Or
I'm
you
looking
could
forward
just
to
have a clip of like a silent clip from the YouTube series Lasagna Cat in the background and just like leave it at that.
Just leave it on. Yeah, that's what we'll. I'll just get. Who's the actor who voiced Garfield?
I don't know.
Bill Murray.
No, before
I'll
Bill
just
Murray.
get Bill Murray to lend
dress
his
up.
voice for this episode.
We got Ian McKellen for Albert Von
Yeah,
Grossum. We
so
can get
we can
Bill
pull
Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old friends with Bill, so it's all good. Me and Bill go way back. That's the race that I brought. All right, we can be done with that. We've dragged that on long enough. To sum up, the Grimalkins hate the Mondays and they love the lasagna. Before we move on to our next one, we have a quick word from our sponsor, Onog. Do you have the sponsor copy for this week?
Yeah, I've got it here in front of me.
Yeah.
So this week of the...
Onog, you don't have anything in front of you.
Shut up. I memorized it. This week on the Copper Fox Inn, we are sponsored by ghouls. They are described as they eat dead things, as so do everything else, so we don't know why that's special. Ghouls.
Ghouls. We eat dead things, but so do you. Why are you judging us? We're joining with ghouls this week as we're going to be doing a drive later to raise awareness on the mistreatment of ghouls for the mischaracterization of their eating habits.
We're all going to get together and eat dead things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called
a barbecue. Yeah.
It's a cookout.
Have you been eating live things? Because if so, get some
my
help.
Gosh. That's of the two options,
Stop.
that's very clearly the worst one.
Well, there's a third option, of course, which would be eating the undead, which that's a hyper-specific diet. You're going to have to find a zombie.
Is that like an ultimate freaking vegan thing?
Like the undead diet has been debunked by dietitians.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fad.
Yeah, and it'll just give you like heart tremors.
If you were vegan, could you eat the undead? Because they've already died. Like, it's not you're...
If you're vegan, you can't eat the flesh of anything because it died.
It's not a vegan. It's a different kind of thing.
But that's what I'm saying, is you didn't kill it, so you didn't harm its life.
I didn't kill the cow at the store. That's still not vegan.
No, you're like, I eat meat, but I only eat the meat of something that is undead. So I don't kill something that's alive. I kill something that's already dead.
That needs to be banished from this world.
It's sort of the circle, what's the druid circle about like bringing things back to their natural order?
Oh, is that spores?
No, it's in Xanathar's guide.
Or man. Dreams? I know there's dreams, there's shepherd.
I think it might be shepherd, where it's like they believe that death is just as much a part of life, and they like believe in ushering the like undead back to death because it's unnatural.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think that might be dreams. I haven't read it in a while.
I'm just imagining it in a level of thing where someone's like, no, I read this notice on a tree. It's a new health thing. So it's like bad to kill something that's alive, right? So if you kill something that's undead and then you eat that, it's fine. And like everyone's like, should we tell her that like it had to be alive at some point?
Nobody ruin it for her.
Like the undead, half of their flesh has rotted off, so it's like super low cal. It's great.
Gross. Thank you, Onog, for that sponsor copy. Hopefully our check will be in the mail from Ghouls Incorporated very soon. Let's move on to our next homebrew, which I believe, Bean, you've brought.
Yes. So, at the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I brought the Bible.
Oh, that okay? Beginning. I thought you meant at the beginning of the podcast.
The Bible has some crazy homebrew in it. Here's a talking donkey race.
Look, guys.
Super judgy.
You've heard about the 2-book rule, right? Where you can bring any 2 books to like an official game. Is the Bible allowed as one of those books? Because if so, I could play a talking donkey race.
Yeah.
Speak with plants and animals, firestorm.
We're going to be reviewing the race cherubim.
Okay, perfect.
I have the class ability to command she-bears.
Oh, good cut.
Yes.
All right.
Excellent.
What'd you bring, Bean?
So, what I have brought is, at the beginning I was going to bring a spell, and we were kind of realizing that we didn't have enough funny things. So I just went onto the D&D subreddit and looked up funny homebrew spells. And luckily, there's a thread called Fun or Funny Homebrew Spells. So, this is a thread that is posted on Reddit. Oh, my mom's calling me. Hi, Toast.
Well,
Toast is calling you.
Put your sending stone away.
Okay. No, she's outside. She's at the window calling me from outside.
Oh, yes.
From outside the tavern.
I see her. Oh, yes.
Hey, Toast.
Waving.
Yeah, she must be up on
Scoot over, make room in the booth.
No. She's not allowed.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Toast.
No!
No, that's not Dead Grover.
Grover, you're not my mom.
Quick, shut the door. Push him out with the broom.
He'll get in again.
It's just a matter of
He
time.
keeps finding a way under the floorboards.
No.
Okay, so
Has anybody noticed? Hey, wait.
Speaking of eating the undead.
No, wait. Oh, no, stop. We're not eating Grover. Speaking of cats, though, has anyone noticed that cat in the corner ever since we started talking about the Grimalkin has been like very suspiciously kind of like glancing over at us. Then every once in a while, like a single bead of sweat runs down its like furry little face and like wipes it off real quick. Has anyone else noticed that? Is that
What are
just
you
me?
looking at? Hey, I will throw you out this window.
oh my gosh, it just leaped
Now
like
that you
5
bring it up,
feet
I
in the
saw
air.
that cat eating its like kibble with a spoon the other day. I didn't think much of it at the time.
Was it kibble or was it the lasagna? We'll have to investigate this more later on. So, which one of these are we going to be talking about,
So-
Bean?
We're mostly going to be talking about the top one. So this is a thing posted by.
But we will link the whole
whole thread.
discussion. Yeah, the whole
I
thread
think it's
down
I
in
think
the
it's funny to see
description.
the responses and stuff. But
Yeah.
we're mostly going to focus on two things. I want to talk about a comment first. But the thread was posted by El Zonko on Reddit.
Nice.
We're going to go a few comments down to a post by High Skill 64. Made this spell as a joke for the cleric. He actually used it once. It's called the Touch of Redundancy. Range, touch. Target is healed 5d20 points. The spell has no effect on a creature below their maximum hit points.
I see. Okay.
So if their max HP has, or if they have temp HP, how would that even
No,
know?
it
you don't
just
get temp
doesn't
HP
do
Yeah,
back.
you don't get temp HP back. How?
There's no way. you
How
can-
did they use it once?
I don't think
I
you
think
can-
they used it.
I mean,
'cause
they'll use it and then they won't gain it.
It didn't
Oh.
do anything. I think it was just for the
For
heart
show.
of saying, I heal this NPC. Or
That's
like
very good.
maybe
very, very
as a way of showing like they're full health, but they're just like, hey buddy, thanks. And you're like, I cast Touch of Redundancy. And it just doesn't do anything, but it's a nice gesture.
I think that just off the cuff, real quick here, my version of the spell Touch of Redundancy would say range touch, target object becomes corporeal.
Actually,
That's very
that
good.
could be useful though.
Okay.
No, it couldn't, because if it's incorporeal, you can't touch
can't
the
touch it.
cast
But-
the spell.
But that's the thing is
That's
if
very
you
good.
were also incorporeal, like due to like the blink spell or something like
You're
that,
on the
I don't
astral
think
plane.
is that how that works?
you could touch something and return
Okay.
it to the material
Let's do
plane.
this. Mercy, you come up with your version of Touch of Redundancy. Onog, you come up with your version of Touch of Redundancy.
Okay. What's your version?
Like target self cast invisibility. It only works if no creature is looking at you, and if a creature looks at you, it is immediately dispelled.
No, that's very good.
That's how I'm gonna use that one. All
That's
right.
more like Touch of Useless, but that's not bad.
Touch of useless.
It's good.
Onog, what's yours?
Onog's touch of redundancy is make a melee spell attack against an opponent. It deals 1d4 plus 6 fire damage, and they recover 1d4 plus 6 health.
That could work out, though.
They're weak to fire.
No, it's the same 1d4 plus 6.
Oh, it's that
Wait.
same roll.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Wait, but if you have a friend who
Use the
is-
same roll for both of
yeah,
these.
if you have a party member who's like a dragonborn who's like resistant to fire, then you could do that to heal them half of that.
Oh, spicy.
It's a 9th level spell.
Deal 1d8 fire damage to target creature. They gain immunity to fire damage.
Yes, that's what it is.
My Touch of Redundancy would be range touch. Target, or you make a charisma check, and if you pass, the target feels the sensation of a warm hand touching their shoulder, reassuring them. It gives them a
Very-
nice sense of reassurance.
Good. Thank you. I like that.
I am not one for phrasing things correctly. And then the other quick one is
You're
that
more the ideas person, Bean. We're some
Yeah.
of the others of us are the more crunchy,
Yeah.
wording people, but
You
you've
guys
got
are
the
the
big
word.
ideas.
y'all use the words, and I'm just here with the
Yep, that's
You know,
exactly
and the-
wild card.
wild card. So the original El Zonko,
Yep.
OG Zonko, posted Their spell, which I actually adore this, Brain Freeze, range, touch. Target must succeed on a Constitution save or else take 1d6 chill and 1d6 psychic damage. When casting at a higher level, for every level above, first add 1d6 of either chill or psychic damage.
Ooh.
That's very
That's
fun.
fair.
Great
Is
flavor
this-
spell.
It doesn't say anywhere what level spell this is.
I kind of wish
Ooh, it
that
doesn't.
It would have to at least be level 1. I think this
Yeah.
would be... If this was a second level spell, that would be a bad spell.
Yeah.
It would feel bad.
I
Yeah.
wish that it targeted food, not creatures, and it was like you cast the spell on the food, and then when they eat it, they take that damage.
Sort of an like an envenoming spell.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You touch them, but you have to touch the roof of their mouth for like at least 3 seconds.
Come here, hold still.
It's just one of the most intimate spells.
It just makes your finger really, really cold, and you just give them a brain freeze. You can also
That's
cast
very
brain
good.
freeze and just stir your drink with your finger, and then it just
Ooh.
cools your drink down
And deals psychic damage.
and makes
To
your
your
drink
drink.
cry.
What if it was a 9th level spell, Brain Freeze? Target creature's intelligence score is changed to 0
Oh,
until the end of the spell.
there's like a
You
brain
freeze
creature
their brain.
that
Yeah, you
does
just-
that.
Now,
They become like a vegetable until the spell ends.
technically speaking, it shouldn't do that, because if at any point any of your stats reach 0, you die.
But it says, but they don't die though, at the end, in parentheses.
But they don't die.
No, it's okay. You only cast it on Grimalkin.
And then they just...
Wait, but
I
then they
was so
wouldn't.
stupid,
Wait,
I died.
that would like break it because then they wouldn't.
See, now we're getting weird.
We've created a paradoxical state where like they would immediately come back, but then it would check for 0 intelligence and they die again. I don't know.
Guys, I have another touch of redundancy that's actually kind of interesting.
Okay.
It's not
But
fully
you already did one.
redundant.
That'd be a little redundant for you to do another one.
I mean, Bean
Where-
did like 3, so...
I did the one brought, and then I brought my own.
So it's the spell's range is touch, and you touch an unconscious creature, and it regains consciousness with 1 hit point, but you fall to 0 hit points and lose consciousness.
Oh, but that's
like
actually a 6 spell.
That's
Yeah, no, that's
great.
actually cool because
That's like a
it's-
4th
like,
level
it's-
abjuration
Like
spell
it's
at
sort of
least.
redundant or whatever because there's still one of your party is unconscious, but it could
can
be like,
choose.
no, it has to be you. Psh.
But yeah,
very
like
good.
maybe
It's actually cool.
maybe they have an ability that you don't have or something, so it's way better
Yeah.
if you're unconscious.
I mean, there could be many just
Exactly.
actual
That'd be
practical
sweet.
applications.
Or if
Where
you're
it's like
small,
you're a gnome and they're like an orc, and
Yeah.
you're like, look, you be conscious and you carry me
Yeah.
and get us out of here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that spell just so that I can like.
Yeah, I actually like that.
So, Mercy,
Well-
what you're saying is you'd much rather Onog be conscious than Bean. Is that what you're telling me?
You said enough.
I could easily carry all of you, while Bean couldn't carry me.
Nope.
So,
I couldn't carry any of you. Also, I
Aw.
can't cast spells, so I'd have to get a wand.
I have the boots of anti-yeeting, so no one could carry me. I would just
no, yeeting
Grab
isn't
right
carry.
You go to like you can get picked up gently and slowly, but if they try to like
The moment they try to throw you,
Does it-
you
It's
immediately
like
fall
a
to the ground.
seatbelt that locks if you move too
yeah
fast.
do the boots check for intent?
they do
Because
know
they
your
could
heart.
lift me slowly and then yeet. You know, they could try and fool the boots. But if the boots check for intent,
No.
now they know.
They check for
I feel
intent because they could try to fool them, but then they become like the immovable rod. So you go
They
to
just
throw that
magnet
person,
to the
and they just are
floor.
like,
And then you just break your elbow.
it actually just breaks their ankles.
Yeah.
Just rips your feet straight off the ends of your legs.
Go to the floor.
It just,
I-
just
look,
like
I'm-
little cartoon bones sticking out of the
little,
I-
little ham hocks coming out of
I
your
told
boots.
you, I just designed it. I'm still working on it.
I'm working the kinks
Oh
out.
yeah,
Working
tinker
the
with
king-
that a little more.
Honestly, though, that's exactly what the descriptions of the wizard circle inventing things like Tensor's floating disk.
my
Like
gosh,
that's
yeah.
exactly what that like process was like, where they're like, "Look, I'm still workshopping it." As everyone looks at like the smoldering boots of like where an assistant used to be.
I will admit,
Guys.
I did have to come to Mercy and ask for some greater restoration to get my feet back a couple times,
many times.
many times.
Guys, I'm gonna actually write up a version of that spell, and it's gonna have a sick name because it's gonna be called Mercy's Sacrifice, and it's gonna be.
Yeah.
That's actually cool.
A named
But
spell.
I'm making
only
a note.
works
Also
if
invented
Mercy
Thomas's
casts
boots of
it.
anti-eating.
No, that's Bean's
Oh, Bean
boots.
came up with those. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's okay.
Wait. No, but Mercy's Sacrifice, anyone can cast it, but Mercy dies anytime it is cast.
It's always Mercy. Is
It's
the one who
always
goes unconscious.
specifically you.
You just dropped to 0 hit points.
But also, though, Mercy's Sacrifice is a dope
It's a
name.
cool name.
Yeah.
That is very good. That's incredible. Thank you very much for that. While you're writing that down, I'm also going to put you on the spot by transitioning to you now for our final bit. Thank you so much,
Alright,
Bean,
alright.
for bringing
Of
those spells. Those are fantastic.
There are
We
a
will,
few
like I
others.
said, we'll link them in the description so everyone can see the rest of the the thread as
There are
well.
a few others that are fun. It's mostly just people talking about funny spells they've cast and stuff. It's a fun little thread. Real short.
Good.
I opened up Reddit to look at my what I've brought today, and it opened up on r/rare puppers, and now I have to look away. It's hard. All right, so I have also brought something from r/under. I have also brought something
We already
from
did magic item of the week. You don't need to do the jingle.
I have already brought something from r/unearthed arcana. Did I say already?
You did. Just move on.
Okay, I have
That
also
sentence
brought
abandoned it.
something from r/unearthed arcana on Reddit. This is from user Yorving.
Mercy, I think when you switched places with me and took my hit point, it gave some of my stupid to you.
You swapped intelligence scores.
Speaking of taking people's hit points,
Ooh, what a how smooth was that?
like we almost planned
Like
it, but we
butter.
actually didn't. So this is the arcane tradition Hemomancy. So it is a wizard subclass, my fave. And it is a blood-wielding wizard, which immediately makes me think of
Look,
Korra, or not
look.
Korra, Katara.
We all wield blood. They can wield other people's blood. That's a very different thing.
Yeah, but it makes me think of Katara with the like spooky lady in
Bloodbender.
Avatar.
The bloodbender, yeah.
Yeah, not cool. So, very cool. I'm gonna kind of go through all of it, but there are two abilities I specifically want to touch on. So I think the description has some good stuff in it.
Yeah.
So the ancient and forbidden tradition of hemomancy teaches that there is magic within the blood of every living thing, and that those who can tap into this magic can obtain power unlike any other. Called hemomancers or blood mages, followers of the tradition of hemomancy focus on spells that can affect both the blood of others as well as their own. Many of these wizards practice their art in secret, though the knowledge and practice of such magic can allow them to work as specialized doctors, shamans, or assassins. I thought that was really cool that it's not sometimes I personally don't like as much when a class or subclass like pushes an alignment on you.
Yeah.
Which I understand that sometimes you're trying to do a very specific thing, especially in homebrew, and that's cool. But I like that it leaves it a little open where you could be like a righteous like protector of the weak, but you're ready to wreck house on the wicked kind of
Hey,
thing.
what are you doing with that blood? Helping?
Because it brings to mind another podcast plug here. A podcast I really like is Lore, and he's talked about how historically there has always been a lot of mysticism around blood, and up through like more recent history than you would think, people have been super into the idea of like, well, if I drink someone's blood right when they die, I'll like get their life force
Their
and I'll like
memories.
live longer and be healthier. And that was a real thing that people have done throughout history a lot.
I
more
mean,
than
I think
you'd
that's where the vampire idea of if you drink a dead man's blood, that's bad. I think that actually came from people trying to drink people's blood right before they died and then accidentally drinking their blood after they died.
It was a thing in Europe and I think in America too, don't quote me on that, where at public executions, right after they died, they would like slit their throat and
form a
people would
line.
drink it, like line up to drink their blood right as they died while it was still hot
was
to like
sort
cure
of
their
the-
epilepsy.
Yeah,
It
sort of,
didn't work, spoiler.
It
sort
didn't
of the
work.
7-Eleven like Slurpee day.
Yeah.
You
of
pulled their
blood.
arm down and like
Everyone
a thick
shows up
gush
with
of
their-
blood.
everyone shows up with their KFC bucket trying to get the most free slushy or whatever.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that there is a history of that, to me, makes this more interesting and richer. It also historically makes me think of women who were just early doctors who were, hung as witches.
Yeah.
But they were helping people. And I feel like you could kind of go a lot of different really cool flavor directions with this, where you could be like a doctor who's like, I'm helping people, but people are like, burn her, she does blood magic. Anyway, I think it's cool. And the abilities, as we'll see, definitely feel sort of vampiric, but we'll get there. So the first ability is at level 2, you get Sanguine Savant. By second level, your studies of blood have given you insight into anatomy, so there we go. You gain proficiency in the medicine skill, so that's a cool direction that it goes. Additionally, you have learned how to use the magic within blood to see into the memories of the dead.
Ooh.
Whenever you are next to a creature who has been dead for no longer than 48 hours, you can spend 10 minutes performing a ritual involving the blood as you experience a vision relating to the creature. When you do, you can learn one of the following pieces of information: the creature's name and creature type, in what manner the creature died, such as disease or poison, the creature's role in society, such as a profession, if it had one, or social status, how long ago did the creature die, and what was the last task the creature was doing. Once you have used this feature, you cannot do so on the same corpse again. You learn one additional piece of information at 6th, 10th, and 14th levels.
Dig it.
So
Nice.
I want a detective. I want the town doctor trying to figure out a mysterious plague or string of deaths. Very cool.
I mean, imagine
detective
though
work.
the detective homicide shows up and they're like, "All right, McStuffins, what do you think happened?" And he's like, "Let me see." And then he just starts whispering to himself and sticking his hands in the blood and smearing it all over the ground, and everyone's
You've
like,
tainted this crime scene, McStuffins.
everyone's
It's all
like,
part of the process.
"What's going on?" And the rookie's like, "Oh my gosh, what is he doing?" And the old guy's like, "Trust me, this man's the best detective I've ever seen."
What was this? The murder weapon? Get off my dick!
Exactly.
I think it's interesting really quickly that I immediately thought, well, isn't this just worse Speak with Dead? Which, I mean, kind
It's
of.
free
but,
Speak with Dead.
But it's free. It's at 2nd level, because Speak with Dead is a 3rd level spell.
Yeah.
And wizards can't cast Speak with Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a wizard arcane tradition.
Yeah.
So it kind of they get a little tiny niche in there where everyone else could just obviously cast Speak with Dead if they needed to at later levels.
I mean,
Sometimes
this
if
is
it's
basically for people who you're like, I want to be spooky, but I don't want to be a warlock. I want to be a spooky wizard.
Yeah.
I think that I was going to say, I think that this is very much a wizard because of the added medicine skill. You understand anatomy. Maybe you're a doctor. That is much more
The
wizard than it is
intellectual side.
warlock.
Yeah.
You could easily make a blood mage warlock subclass, but it wouldn't be exactly the same.
Yeah, and you can make a necromancer wizard.
Totally.
That's just like an edgelord, but that's not exactly what this is.
It's not exactly what it is. Yeah, and I like how specific it is because when I read this, my instinct is oh, I love this subclass. Who would and I start creating a character I'd want to play with it, which for me is a sign of a good subclass that it makes me immediately want to make a character. I am picturing it makes me think of Dracula's wife at the beginning of Castlevania, the Netflix series, where it's I want to be this doctor who's trying to figure out what's been killing people and helping people, but everyone's she uses blood magic, and you're you're not wrong, but I'm helping. So then it also at 2nd level, you, as a bonus action, until the end of your next turn, when you take damage from a creature that you can see, that creature takes necrotic damage equal to your wizard level plus your intelligence modifier. And it can only affect a creature once per turn. So it's very
blood connection.
vampiric, but it also is you've cast a blood spell, because I think outside of D&D and a lot of other fantasy lore, the idea of blood magic is connecting to people, tethering someone. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Crimson Regeneration at 6th level is healing yourself. So whenever you cast a spell that deals necrotic damage, you regain HP equal to your intelligence modifier. And it says when you cast, not even hit.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, and Thomas and I were discussing this just the other day as a bit of a side note. We could honestly do a whole side quest about it, but I love Homebrew that draws on fantasy lore outside of what is already in the D&D game.
Yes.
Because it is so like, I mean, it's Eurocentric, it's pretty specific, and there's so much great lore from all over the world that isn't part of the game, and so I love it when people draw off of that. So great job, Yorving. So, at 10th level, Empowered Veins, your max HP can no longer be reduced, and you become immune to disease and poison. The idea that you have so much control over your own body that, like, you're good. Mm-hmm. So that's cool.
I don't know why it's so funny to me if it's specifically like, I've gained control over my blood. It's like too specific. You can't hurt my blood.
Also, everyone else
That is
is
pretty
like,
good.
dang, you control your blood?
It's like
So do
being the
I.
wizard of the pancreas. Like, I'm immune to hypoglycemia.
My kidneys
Try as
are
you-
extra efficient.
While you studied the blade, I studied the blood. Okay, go on.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
So this is one I want to get into here, the final ability, Cruor Lord. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It is apparently the chunky bits in coagulated blood, so that's
Ugh.
gross.
I liked the medical term chunky bits.
Chunky bits, yep,
If
that's
we were referring
that's what
to
the doctors told
stage
me.
blood, this would be coagulated or scab blood.
Yeah.
DM, I want to lick the material that's on the ground and see what it is. Yeah, roll a medicine check.
One.
One. Yes, blood.
Blood.
What
Yep.
kind? I don't know. Blood.
It's blood.
Definitely blood.
Yep, that's blood. we already knew that.
You didn't help.
So good. At 14th level, you have mastered the art of blood magic. I would hope so. You've been studying it for a while. Whenever you successfully hit a creature with a spell attack, you can use your bonus action to draw some of their blood to you to consume, though constructs and undead are immune to this effect. Fair enough.
If you don't
when you
have
do
blood,
so,
it doesn't work.
it don't work.
Disappointing.
When you do so, choose one of the following effects. You cannot use this feature again until you finish a long rest. So you have Blood Reservoir as your first option. You consume the life force of the creature, and your hit point maximum increases by half of the amount of damage dealt to the
No.
creature in your spell attack. This effect lasts until you finish a long rest. Pretty cool.
Spicy.
Blood Shape. So, and you can't do these all at once. You know, you pick
Oh,
one.
okay. This is literally,
Yeah.
you can do one of these once per long rest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Blood
So,
Reservoir
have a-
allows you to use the Touch of Redundancy spell.
Yeah, pretty much.
basically. Blood Shape. You consume the essence of the creature. This one is cool. Until you finish a long rest, you can cast the spell Alter Self as an action without expending a spell slot to look like the creature you consumed, and you have advantage on charisma checks made to pass yourself off as the creature. When you use this feature, the spell lasts for up to 4 hours as opposed to the usual one. That's cool.
So just because you drink my blood, you think you know me?
I think I am you.
Ugh.
That's
Well, now is it-
really cool stuff,
is it
guys.
illusion? Okay, so it is alter self. So you are physically changing.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
casting. You're casting alter self. So anything that would normally affect or see through alter self, like still works.
But I love the addition of it because Alter Self is only, I think, a second level spell, but the addition of it lasting for 4 hours and the advantage on the charisma checks to pass off as that person is
Yeah.
super cool.
It kind of gives you the actor feat thrown in there,
Yeah.
essentially.
I'm
Which
excited about
which
that
it ties into kind of earlier the when a freshly dead corpse, you can kind of see their like memories if you
It's
get
all
their
about
blood.
kind of
It's
being
all-
linked through
yeah,
blood.
connecting with their
It's their life.
consciousness.
It's
yeah.
very cool. And then the last one is Blood Defense. You consume the strength of the creature until you finish a long rest. You gain 1 damage resistance or condition immunity that the creature had. So that's cool. You're like going up against fire monster boys that are immune to fire, and you're like, so am I.
Oh my gosh, you like drink the
I
blood of
drink
a Grimalkin and you just
your
like,
milkshake.
I cannot die.
That's not quite how it works, but sure. They don't have immunity to death.
But it's like,
That's
but
not
I
the
mean,
condition
but
they
They
even
are
like,
resistant to death. It's
you could be immune to like sleep or resistant to charmed if you like drank the blood of an elf or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cool.
You could
It's cool
you
stuff.
could be immune to like fear and
Or like a dragonborn, like a different elemental resistance.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. So yeah, I think overall, I mean, it's on Unearthed Arcana, which is typically a little more polished. For those who don't know, r/Unearthed Arcana is usually like ready for play testing, and r/D&D Homebrew is where people are workshopping it. They want feedback. It's still like a work in progress.
Those are
Yeah.
generalities.
I mean, that's loose, but that's sort of the idea. And I would play this. Like reading
Give
this,
that a shot.
I'm excited. Like I can see the character I want to be. And I think that is a sign of a great homebrew. Like we talked about, when it comes to a class or a race, you need to like what is the fantasy that you were fulfilling, and then everything that you give it, in my opinion, about homebrewing should lead to that end goal. Like should make you feel like that image that you wanted to be. And I think that this homebrew does a great job of that.
Well,
I did one time make a warlock patron,
Yes.
a vampire lord. How do you think that would get along with this blood mage? Do you think they would be either best friends or like two people who both think that they know a movie better than the other one does? And so they're trying to like outdo each other on like, well, I actually remember information about when the director was filming this.
I think what it would be is the difference between someone who like is a doctor and someone who is like a holistic healer.
I thought you were going to say, and someone who eats dead people.
No, but like one person is like, I have studied this very, very precisely. I know that blood flows from here to here along this nerve pathway, and then as it does, it gathers energy from the heart. And then the other person's like, yeah, like...
Wait. Wind back. Bean, how do you think blood works? That was the craziest description of blood I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, I'm not
You've got
saying...
to build up energy in your blood.
I'm not saying
Built up
I
energy
work
for
that
the
way.
heart.
Your
If
blood
you're
goes
a
through your
blood
neurons to
mage-
gain energy from your heart.
No, I'm saying normal people don't know that, but if you're a blood mage, you come to learn how to recognize
Okay,
that.
That's so
fair. That
good.
is. You're right.
I actually was thinking about that because I played a whole campaign as that homebrew that Thomas came up with, the Vampire Lord Warlock. And I think that one thing I really like about this is that it doesn't feel redundant, the sort of word of the week here, because they are very different, because this is a nerd about blood. This is someone who's...
This guy's he's a geek.
Yeah.
Look at this nerd.
He's not just
blood nerd.
Whereas vampires are just thirsty.
Oh, boy.
Thirsty
Well, that's what I'm
boys.
saying. It's
Blood
the difference
sluts.
between someone who's
Blood
like,
nerds.
I know all the science behind it, and someone else who's like, I just kind of have a general feel for the like chakras and the energy places of the body. And they often come to similar conclusions, but the way that they got there is different.
Well, I don't even know that their vampire warlock is that opinionated about the substance of blood. It's just like, I want
I need it,
powers,
give it.
so I'll drink it.
You guys know like the phrase like, oh dude, I'm such a slut for Popeye's chicken. You know that turn of phrase
I'm
people
such
use?
a slut for blood.
Every vampire's like, I'm such a blood slut. Like I am just put that in front of me, I cannot resist it.
I'm a blut, if you will.
It would be
But there's an umlaut over the U. I'm a blut.
it would be kind of cool if you had a hemomancer who also was a vampire. I mean, that could be interesting, but
They know the blood and they are the blood.
and they like the blood.
They like the blood, but they are
They
the
know
blood.
the blood.
Oh,
They are the blood.
I am such a slut for the blood.
Oh, you know me.
There
I
it
cannot
is.
resist. I'm such a slut for the blood. Fantastic, Mercy. Thank you so much for bringing that. That's incredible.
Yeah, I love it.
That's a very, I would love to see a game with that. We should play one sometime.
Cool, I'll play it. I have my
Sure,
character.
let's do it. Thank you so much for listening, travelers. We are happy to be back on the air and broadcasting again after our long absence. Seemed like we were gone for millennia, but that might have been because I did get lost in the Feywild for a little bit.
I
Yeah.
have noticed that you have a lot more gray in your mustache.
I have aged about 300 years, but the problem is my physical body hasn't. It's a real Narnia situation
Oh,
where
I see.
I'm so much older than all of you now, but I look young still. No one knows my pain. Travelers, if you want to see any of the homebrew that we discussed on this podcast in more detail, we have links below in the description. If you have a homebrew that you want to receive feedback on, you want to hear us mock viciously for like 2 hours, send that to us at our email, thecopperfoxin@gmail.com, or on Twitter at thecopperfoxin. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want more D&D content. We're trying to get back in the groove and hopefully have at least one video coming out every week, but we should have some more videos coming out very soon, including one I'm excited for, where Onog and I are going to look at the recent Unearthed Arcana from Wizards of the Coast, because that stuff is wild.
Let's do it.
That stuff is buck wild. If you haven't seen it, go look at it, and we'll talk about it later on a side quest sometime this week. But with all of that, we thank you for listening, and we hope to see you next time. Keep on adventuring.
Do, do, do.